I'm joined by Alex Tomic, the co-founder of Alea. Alex, it's fair to say you're quite well known in this industry for your business ventures, for Alea, for biohacking, for the podcast. What does it mean to be a personality in iGaming?
I don't know. Okay. Usually I'm sitting here and my guest's sitting here and I'm interviewing them, and now it's the other way around in the same chamber. So it's a very unusual situation for me. I think I'm known because I've been here long enough. I've been here for 20 years. So at the end of the day, you get known because people get used to see your face, you know. That's why I think I got known at the end. I wasn't known after 5 years. I got known after 20 years being in this industry. The other one that died, oh, new one came, and you're the only one staying here with a bunch of people. So I don't know, maybe we're a couple of thousands of people that are staying there that have been here long enough to be known at the end. You do it by, I don't know how to say it, by brute force almost. You know?
Well, even if it wasn't intentional, you are still a personality.
We could say so today.
From a business perspective, do you think it's important to be a personality in this industry?
Yes, it is. So I was joking, it's not just being known, it's a question of reputation. You build a reputation over 20 years. You try to not be mean to people, which is not always easy, because some they're not annoying, and also because you're not yourself in a good state every time. So sometimes you want to tell people to fuck off, and you shouldn't do that. So, but it takes years to build a reputation, and you can ruin a reputation in a couple of minutes just by being mean to someone. Or by doing something you shouldn't do, you know. For example, not taking ownership of your mistakes as a company. And as any company, we do mistakes. There are companies that I love, that I really respect a lot. I don't want to name anyone. Something happened to a company that I really respect a lot. They've been hacked. That's as much as I can say lately. And we talk a lot about these hacks and API hacks. I respect a lot this company, and it's something that may happen to us, even if it's something we're very careful about, and we try to avoid completely. But when things like that happen, and I remember David Natroshvili talking about that, where in the beginning at Stripe they lost. They had a bug, I think, something like that, and there was a 1 million that they had to pay out to operators, and they paid it out. But back in time, for them, 1 million was something, and then they did pay it out. That's the thing that we do also at Alea. That's the thing that I respect from my business partner, when you own your mistakes, and that's something that's very, very important. So being known is one thing, and having a reputation of a trusted partner that you people you can work with, that's also a very important thing. Now, about my little famous status, maybe because of the podcast lately and 2 or 3 other things, it's quite publicly speaking, doing keynotes, panels, and these things, and repeatedly doing it, and people seeing you over and over again. Reminds me, you're like a rock star, but in a microverse, in a very little bubble. You're a mini rock star. You know, when I go out in the street, nobody knows me. But if I'm in an airport right after a conference, I bump into a lot of people and say, "Oh, you're Alex Tomic." Yeah. And then I come back home and nobody knows me again.
You've managed to grow Alea into a very well-known brand very quickly, but you yourself have been in the industry for quite a long time. Would you say the industry experience is vital to growing a brand in iGaming?
It's an interesting question. I mean, you do need to have experience in the industry, but actually the funny thing is that in Alea we tend to hire people that are not coming from the industry. Jordi, our CEO, which was first the COO when I was a CEO, and now I'm not the CEO anymore, it's not coming from the industry. Ramon, our COO, who replaced Jordi as a COO when he became CEO, is not from the industry. Edu, Fumas, our CTO, is not from the industry. Edouard Verdaguet, head of partnership, is not from the industry. And I could go on and on and on like that. Okay, now and Charlotte, my co-founder, was not from the industry. She was an intern when I met her, and she had nothing to do with gambling. So no, I don't think it's needed. But now you may need one face. That's me. You may need one phase that is known in the industry, and that's basically what I'm doing today. I'm not executive anymore. I'm the founder. I'm going to almost every show. I try to not go overseas too far, like US or LATAM. Try to avoid these shows just because there's so much travel, and I travel so much around Europe already. I spend like 95% of my time in hotels, but that's what I do. Now I'm a brand ambassador. You know, I go in front of cameras, I look pretty, I speak about what Alea does, and basically we have quarterly strategic meetings, and that's what I do.
One of your current projects is the Under Pressure podcast, where in a hyperbaric chamber like this, you interview people making change in the industry, and you look at their personal journeys and also their personalities. What have you learned from the guests you've had on from the podcast so far?
And I had this idea like in 2020. I think it was April 2020. I wanted to create a podcast where we would interview people that were building the slots, like product owners that were building the slots in order to have content on an affiliate website Alea wanted to build about these slots. Like, for example, Jonas Tekman from No Limit City. We did an episode with him. Very, very interesting episode. I recommend. I mean, I could recommend all of them. The one with David Natashvili from Scribe, for example, where these are people that have built it company, that have built it product, and that you could take the content and put that content on your website, and you could make a very good content for affiliation. Okay, that was the purpose of the podcast, like 6 years ago when I thought about it. But bringing them to the public in a very special environment like this hyperbaric chamber, where basically there's no booze, right? But there's oxygen, there's pressure, and it does alter the mood of the people. So when you have just 100% oxygen changes your mood, but if you put people under pressure, which is 2 atmosphere pressure, it does affect their mood even more, because basically the pressure pushes oxygen to the tissues, into the brain, and you get a little high. Okay, and if you watch the podcast closely, you would see that mark 10 minutes around that time, they start like feeling like, oof, you know, and then I can feel it, you know, and then I start shooting them comfortable questions that I wouldn't answer otherwise, you know. So I've learned a lot from these conversations, and so there's 2 things. Bring them to the people. I mean, bring them to iGaming people, and even non-iGaming people. I want to learn from them. I want to ask them the question that I want to hear the answer, and I want, of course, to share them with people. But I could listen to other podcasts, and that's what I do already, and learn from them. But when you in that room with them and they tell you what they've experienced, it's something different. You feed from that. It's almost I can't tell you, it's energetic. They pass you, so they give you something.
Do you see a link between what you're building with the podcast and what you're building with Alea?
It's a very good question, because it sees what Alea is today, which means that the people we've interviewed are all people from the iGaming industry. But since the beginning of the podcast, and we've discussed that extensively with the board, we said, and I didn't believe it was going to happen in the timeline, to be honest, within 12 months, we need to grow that podcast to that level in terms of viewer, land view, likes, view per video, etc., subscribers. But the most important point was, we need to start having guests that are coming outside of the iGaming industry. And this has to be a platform that helps Alea shift towards something else than gaming. Because not that Alea wants to leave iGaming, we will always have feet or foot in iGaming, but we want to start exploring other verticals, okay? And because we want to start doing something that we believe will bring value to society, and we believe that gaming does bring entertainment, that for sure, but not, we can't say that iGaming brings value to society, okay? And as a company and as people, we want to bring value to society. So we thought, and actually we did start like 4 years ago, we built a device like the Whoop that was basically a wearable that would have its own data and would also by API take the data of Whoop, of Oura, of Polar Vintage, I think, and the Phoenix Garmin. I don't remember very well. We had an app and would compare the data, and also from the Polar H10, the chest strap, would compare the data and then have its own algorithm and provide information that Whoop and Wear wouldn't provide at that time, okay? And then we stopped because it was taking us too much time and we had to focus on iGaming. But we always thought we wanted to do something else than iGaming. Again, not leaving iGaming because iGaming is our safe space.
Mm-hmm. The podcast will help you make that transition.
Yes, and the podcast will help us make that transition in a way that it's a platform, and we can start now inviting, and that's where I was going. The goal was, in 12 months, we need to start inviting people that are outside of the iGaming industry. We need to build that network that is outside of the gaming industry. We need to build that audience that is outside of the iGaming industry, and that will help us transition. You've seen what Mr. Beast has done. I think he's got chocolate bars and stuff like that. We don't want to get there. I mean, we're not at the level of Mr. Beast, of course. This guy's a marketing genius. But first, establish contacts with people that are inspiring us, that are coming outside of the iGaming industry, and also audiences that are coming outside of the iGaming industry, and use the podcast as an exploration tool. So, yes, the podcast is basically a transition between what is the Alea of today and what could become the Alea of tomorrow. But we don't know yet exactly what it is, because, as I've said it, and as its concept, it is an exploration tool. That's the tool that's going to help us find out what's next.
Alex, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.